Hey everybody, it's Jurius Doctor. Got another video here for you today. Today we're going to be talking about mission running in HiSec. And the reason I'm going to be covering this topic is because I myself have recently gone into running missions as a source of income or supplementary income and as something fun for me to do when I'm playing Eve. Now, when it looks at getting started in mission running, you can do this with any character, but what I've chosen to do is to take an alternate character, one of my alts, on the same account that I keep Jurius Doctor on. This is Cherry Doctor. He is a brother character to Jurius. He's Caldari, and I have set him up so that I can use him in Caldari space to run Caldari missions. Now, I've recently started with level 1 missions. I started off with a 0.0, so a neutral standing to the Caldari state, and with just a single day of missioning, I've been able to raise my standings up above 1.0 positive standing. Now, I have been doing these primarily by reaching out to the agent Okeda La, and this is one of the agents available for Caldari Navy. Now, you can see that my standings with this agent are very positive. I'm at a 4.12 personal standings with this user, which is fairly positive. This is about 40% of the way to a perfect standing with this agent. And as I have completed these missions and raised my standings, because I have positive standings with him, I'm also gaining positive standings with the Caldari Navy, with the Hiasoda Corporation, who I was invited to do a mission for, and with the Caldari State. So as you have aligned groups with whom that agent shares positive standings, which are Faction State, Caldari State and Caldari Navy, so too will associated standings also go up. Now, counter to that, if you have any standings that will start to fall, that is because you are raising standings with a group who likes your allies or likes the people with whom you're raising standings, and there are enemies. So, for example, the Minmatar Republic, not super fond of the Caldari. The Guristas, definitely not in favor of the Caldari as a group, and the Angel Cartel are actively their enemies. So for every point of standings I gain with my primary faction I'm trying to raise my standings with, and the more rats of the pirates of the type that I need to kill to raise those standings, the more I kill their guys, the more my standings with them fall. But as I kill those pirates, the Caldari state likes me more and more. And the same goes for the Amar. If the Amar are enemies to the Angel Cartel, or if the Amar are enemies to the Blood Raiders, and I kill Blood Raiders as part of my missions to raise my standings with the Caldari state, well then, understandably, the Amar are like, well, hey, this guy's doing good work. Let's consider him a little bit more favorably. And that's how the standing systems work, because even in the NPC world of New Eden, of EVE Online as a greater galaxy, you don't live in a vacuum. Everything you do will change somebody's opinion of you, even if it's just NPCs. Now, how does standings impact the types of things that you can do? Well, let's take a look at the Caldari state. So as I raise my standings up to different levels, I will suddenly gain access to additional missions. So at a standings of 1.0, positive standings 1.0, I gain access to level 2 agents belonging to the Caldari state. That doesn't prevent me from going back and getting level 1 missions. It just means that level 2 missions are now available to me. As I raise my standings higher and I get to a standings of 3 or higher, I gain access to level 3 agents as well as the Caldari Epic Arc, or the first Epic Arc. As I raise my standings to 5 out of a possible 10, I gain access to level 4 agents. And this is where the money really starts being worth it and where things really start to pay off, because level 4 and level 5 missions, while significantly more difficult, they also have much higher payouts and start to drop better loot that can be used to sell. And as you're completing missions for a group, those missions will also provide small incremental rewards in the form of loyalty points. Those loyalty points can be used, and you can see your loyalty points by opening your wallet and clicking on loyalty points. These loyalty points can be exchanged in an LP store, a loyalty point store, for things that you can then either purchase and resell or that you can purchase and use. And these might be implants, they may be ship blueprints, they may be, blueprints for ammunition or charges themselves. It may be skill books, access to specialization in a skill. It may be things like Caldari Navy kinetic shield amplifiers or specific faction modules. And it will tell you what the LP cost for that item is, what your IS cost is to buy in addition to the LP cost. And as you go down through this list and you sort by LP cost, you can see where things like Raven Navy issue blueprints and blueprint runs, Drake Navy issue ships and blueprint runs come from. And yeah, I can tell you right now that if you're buying any Navy class ship from EVE's in-game market, you're buying it from somebody who got it from a loyalty point store or who have purchased the blueprint from the loyalty point store, assembled and built the ship, and then are selling it for sale. And this is a significant part of where your rewards will come from in doing missions. But in order to gain access to those higher level missions, you need to run the missions and start seeking higher and higher rewards. So as you advance your standings, you're going to want to gain access to these higher level missions. Now, as we talked about, as you raise your standings with one group, your standings with other groups will necessarily either rise or fall depending on how they relate to one another. Are they enemies? Are they friends? Are they neutral to one another? And if you raise your standings very high in Caldari state, it is very likely that other groups like the Galente Federation and the Minotaur Republic are going to start looking at you less favorably. This typically means that you will have a harder time gaining missions or access to missions and services from those other groups. At the worst, if your standings are too high with one group, you can actually find yourself in a place where, as your standings fall below a certain point with their enemies, when you enter their space, you will find yourself being attacked by the marshals and by the state armies in those areas. And I'll give you an example. How this works is that from a security standing of 0, so let's go security status. Right now, my security status is 1.05 on this character. From a security standing of 0, as you go up, you gain access to additional missions and additional, benefits. As your security standing falls, or as your standing with a particular faction falls, at -2, you lose access to level 1 agents, regardless of derived standings. At -5, you start getting attacked in space, controlled by that faction. And the same goes for the Minotaur Republic. You lose access to Agents 2. At -2, you start getting attacked in space at -5. The same goes for security status. As your security status falls too low, you will start getting attacked at a certain threshold by the defenders of that space. So you really want to be careful that if you're picking a character to do mission running in a particular region of space, ideally you don't want to be using that character for other things unless you're going to be doing things in space where that's not typically a problem. But if you're spending a lot of time roaming high-sec or participating in PvP fleets on the same character that you're doing high-sec mission running on, you may want to actually set yourself up an alt character and train that character instead. I'm not saying that you have to do this. I'm just saying that it's probably good practice. Now, as I've done with Cherry here, this character, he's going to be my Caldari mission runner. He's going to be where I'm going to start making money. Now, there are skills that increase your rate of gain of loyalty points and standings with your different agents that you're dealing with, and those skills are found under the social tree. Now, I'm going to expand the social tree here a little bit. You can see there are 9 skills. So if you're looking at your view this way, social's right here. And as you mouse over social, you'll see that social skills improve your standings with NPCs and improve rewards you can earn from missions. There's a total of 45 levels of skills to train, 5 times 9, so 45 levels. And there's a maximum of 5 million skill points you can invest in here. There's also a number of certificates you can claim. Now, the social skills, the attributes which affect your social skills the most for training purposes are charisma and intelligence. So if you have the ability and the free ISK to purchase implants that increase your charisma and intelligence attributes, those are good ones to add for training these skills. But none of these skills are particularly hard to train. I think the longest they typically take is something like 40 days total per skill at level 5 if you're an Omega player. Now, let's go through these alphabetically. So, social gives you a 5% bonus per NPC agent corporation infection standing increase. So anytime you take a mission and you get a standings reward, each level of this skill gives you an extra 5% bonus, which means that at level 4 of social, I'm gaining 20% on each of my gains that I'm getting from missions. Negotiation gets me an extra 5% per level for pay, for remuneration. So when the rewards say the base reward is 100,000 plus another 100,000 if you complete it within a certain amount of time, this means I'm getting an extra 20,000 from both sets of rewards, both for completing the mission and for completing it within a certain amount of time. And this just naturally raises the payouts from those missions. Connections is skill at interacting with friendly NPCs. You get an extra 4% modifier to your effective standing from friendly NPC corporations and factions per level. This is not cumulative with diplomacy or criminal connections. So here, with 4 levels of this, or what will be 4 levels once it's finished training, is 16% gain at level 4. Now, this is one of those skills that, in addition to social, really helps to accelerate your rewards for running missions with high-tech empires. Diplomacy is the skill that allows you to interact with hostile agents and de-escalate situations. So basically what you're doing is modifying your effective standing towards hostile agents to combat some of the negative effects of gaining really high standings with somebody else. Fast talk is a skill at interacting with Concord, with the police, basically. And this will give you a 5% per level bonus to effective security rating increase. One of the nice things about training the fast talk skill is that it is not a long training skill. You can train to level 5 in, I think, 12 days. And the advantage of it is that if you are somebody who spends a lot of time doing piracy, potting people, shooting at people, low sec, those kinds of things, and you need to quickly repair your security standings, one of the easiest ways to do that is to train fast talk up and then run a bunch of high-sec security missions. That'll very quickly turn your security ratings around. Criminal connections is just like connections, but it's for gaining faster rewards in terms of your standings with criminal organizations. Distribution connection is for increasing your rewards for loyalty points when running distribution missions or hauling missions. And then the mining and security connections bonuses are for increasing your rewards for both mining and security. And it works in exactly the same way. This improves your loyalty point gain by 10% per level. So at a maximum of 5 levels, you're getting a 50% bonus on your loyalty point rewards. And loyalty points were a big part of how you make your money from running missions. So this is definitely one of the ones you're going to want to train right away. And in my case, I'm actually going to buy this skill book and add it to my training. So I need to right-click view market details, and this is one of those few skills you can't just buy and directly use. So it shows that in Jita, one jump away, I can go and buy this. And it's not an inexpensive skill book. This skill book currently goes on the market for 22 million points. Now, where are the other places that I can buy this skill book? Well, I can see if, take a look here. No, it's only showing available at Jita. It used to be that you could buy this skill from a school station. Any of the school stations would allow you to buy skill books, and it is entirely possible that I could pick it up there. But it's honestly for the little bit of money that this is going to cost me, 22 million. I know that sounds like a lot of money to new players, but when you get to the point where you can afford to buy that, this really isn't that much money. And given the fact that it gives you a 50% increase at level 5 to your LP rewards, this more than pays itself off within a couple of days of running missions. So I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy one copy, and I'm going to set destination to that location, and then I'm going to come back to where I am. So I'm going to add a waypoint back to my current location. So if I show my route, now it shows me going from my current station to Jita, picking up the skill book, and then coming back. And that is going to increase my LP payout. Now you can see I've got connections, negotiation there. I still have some other skills that I was training, such as some PI skills, planetary interaction, and some turret skills. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the security connections skills in behind connections for negotiation just to very quickly increase my payouts. Now, the other things beyond skills that you need to know is where to find missions. So when you go to the agency, you'll see agents and missions is one of the tabs at the top here. It's also one of the icons on the first page. And you can go to Agent Finder. Now, if you haven't done the initial career agents and starting missions for your new player experience, I would very strongly recommend you go to career agents and finish these first. After you've done these, I strongly recommend that you run the Epic Arc, the Bloodstained Stars, which is for the Sisters of Eve. It's 52 missions long, but at the end of it, you get a base 7% bonus to one empire of your choice at the end of running the Bloodstained Stars. And I can tell you that, and we'll look at this in a second, you can run this 4 times a year. Every 90 days, you can run this mission for an additional base 7% bonus to your standings with one empire. Now, Agent Finder, under Agents and Missions, is where you would look to see what agents can you talk to. Right now, I've unlocked level 2 missions, so I can go and look at level 2 agents here in the agency. If I want to, I can sort by agent type, so I can say I want to do mining or R&D or security or whatever the case may be. In this case, I'm going to choose security. I'm going to choose agent level 2, so level 2 agents. I'm going to choose either current system or within 2 jumps, within 5 jumps. Right now, I'm going to leave it at the default of any distance. It will sort automatically by what is closest, and it will tell you if it's in the current system or not. And then I can set my security status to any region of space. So right now, I'm going to leave it at default because it's going to show me the closest ones. And I can choose which faction. So if I intentionally want to grow my standings with the Caldari Navy or with the Caldari State, I can actually choose Caldari State, and it will show me only those missions which apply to me. And I can choose if there's a particular corporation like the Caldari Navy that I want to gain standings with. So I can say Caldari State, Caldari Navy, and then it's going to show me the people I can go to raise my standings with that same group that I've been raising my standings with so far. So for now, I could keep taking level 1 missions from OK to Law, but they're going to continue to pay out those level 1 mission benefits. So what if you want to very quickly raise your standings? Is there a way to rapidly gain your standings up to a higher level? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can very quickly and very effectively game your standings. And there's a couple of ways to do this. The first resource I'm going to give you is called the Mission Reports from Eve Survival. And let's take a look into those here. So the website for this is evesurvival.fuzzwork.co.uk/mission reports, capital M, capital R. This website is run by Fuzzwork. So this is one of the primary third-party development websites in EVE Online, and it's run by Fuzzy Steve Ronikin. Steve Ronikin was a CSM member for 5 years running. One of the most prolific developers in EVE Online. And this website, contributed to by many, many people, has been set up for you to be able to look up any mission that you're given in the game. So if you want to know exactly what you're going to run into in a given mission, the majority of missions in EVE Online have been mapped here. And I'll use the Sisters of Eve Epic Arc as an example. So you can choose what type of mission is it. You can search alphabetically through the list, or you can say, well, I want to look at Epic Arcs. So I'm going to click Epic Arc, and then I'm going to choose Sisters of Eve, level 1, about the arc, or I could jump to any chapter in here to see the missions that exist within it. So if I go to about the arc, it's going to give me an introduction, and it's going to give me some primer for information on how to blitz the mission. So it says, the Bloodstained Stars Epic Arc is a series of 50 missions divided into 7 chapters designed to allow a new pilot to experience the world of EVE and learn about the different types of missions, pirate factions, and Empire space. It brings a new pilot gradually from flying a frigate to engaging with a cruiser, and hopefully with the help of this guide, learn various techniques and tactics used against a wide variety of hostile ships and fleets in different scenarios. It really is also a great series of missions to introduce you, if you actually take the time to stop and read the mission briefings, to introduce you to the lore of EVE Online and the deeper story behind what's going on in space. The incentives for doing it, here's a partial list of the incentives for spending the time doing this arc. A base standing reward of 7%, it's an 8.75% bonus with the social skill at level 5, applied to the chosen Empire faction at the end of the mission chain. Mission rewards and time bonuses will pay for a cruiser and its first set of fitting modules and the necessary skills needed. Missions offered do not expire, so a casual player can take as much time as they want completing the arc. A new player-friendly series of missions after completing the introductory tutorial and career agent missions. Basically, it's designed to be a friendly place to go to after you've completed the career agent missions. Alternating tactics and ship setups will be required, helping new players to learn some of the game mechanics of fitting. Now, this is kind of achieved in a bit of a forced way because it does require you to be a little bit adaptable. And for people who aren't used to doing a little bit of research, this can be kind of challenging. So where possible, I will try to help you with some suggested fits. A player may do this Epic Arc once every 3 months to gain an Empire faction standing increase. So you can gain these increases multiple times. Now, the great thing about the EVE Survival website is that it actually suggests to you the best way to approach these. So, for example, as a mission to blitz for skilled characters, using a T3 destroyer is ideal due to its mode versatility and its damage projection. It is also very agile and warps at better speed, since many of the missions involve traveling several jumps, and the average mission combat time is at about a minute or so. So they don't take long to complete, but there's a lot of travel involved. Change modes accordingly within missions and use long-range weapons to save time approaching rats. Snipe them off from a distance while approaching the objective. Close-range ammo or drones to kill Dagon and other ships that come close. Dagon is the rat that you fight at the end. Approach mission objective. Usually drop or pick something up in a can with an MWD. Ungroup turrets or missiles or modules to only fire one on each hostile, basically trying to increase your time by killing more than one rat at once. An easy fix for this, by the way, if you're a player with a lot of money and fairly advanced with just getting into missions, is to use an Edencom vessel to run these missions, because the Edencom cruiser can deal a lot of damage across several ships at a time. Focusing on the mission completion objective and using these tips as a player could possibly complete this arc in less than 4 to 5 hours. So you can blitz these missions. And the Eve Survival website is set up in such a way to make that possible, to help you identify where you can go. And if you click on the Eve Survival homepage, this link here, you can actually search by mission name. But really, the mission reports link is the one that you want to start with, because this will help you to look up the missions that you're looking at. And it is sorted alphabetically. It is provided to you as a table, and you can search by specific name when you're offered a mission. Now, let's say, for example, I grab one at random. I'm going to go down to something Caldari. So Caldari Beacons. This is a level 5 mission. If I click on it, it's going to show me any screenshots that somebody's taken. It's going to tell me about what type of mission is it, if it's gated, if there's a web or scrambles, if there's any enemies using NOS, what recommended ships should be flown in. So here they're recommending a Maelstrom with passive tank or a Maelstrom with shield transporters, but recommend more DPS if you want to complete the mission within the 1.3 hour time bonus. And as you scroll down, it will tell you what you can expect to encounter as enemies and how many ships and how many per room or which pocket. So you'll take an acceleration gate into a room, you'll fight the rats in that room, you'll take another acceleration gate, you'll go to a second room, and you'll fight the rats there. And depending upon what happens when you complete those missions, as you kill rats, once all ships are destroyed, even without the subspace beacons, you will have the mission considered complete once all the rats are dead. But you may have optional spawns that happen where you might get an extra 8 battleships or 6 battleships that show up. So this is an example of the information captured in the mission report site, is that it's giving you kind of a rundown of what to expect and what to run into and how you should arm yourself so that you'll be prepared. Now, the other way to rapidly advance your skills and your standings with a particular faction, and this is a one-time thing, you can only do this once per character, is that you can run the data center missions. And data center missions are missions where you hand in pirate tags. You can loot these in missions or buy them on the market. Basically, you're translating your ISK into standings, but it only works once. Data center missions come in 2 flavors: Keeping Crime in Check, which is a pirate tag handover, and Graduation Certificate / data transportation. It's a simple courier mission of just a very small object. Now, I'm going to warn you with this. If you fail a data center mission, you will lose corporation and faction standing. So you do not want to do these if you don't already have the prerequisites in hand. You can talk to each agent only once. So data center missions, it's very important for you to remember this. Do not start a data center mission if you do not have time to sit in front of the computer and finish it before you log off. So starting one of these missions 15 minutes before you know your wife's going to want you to get in the car and drive to your kid's ballet recital, the worst possible time to do one of these missions. If you're, if you got a test in university in 20 minutes that you should be studying for and you're trying to get in one last mission, put it down, pick up your book, do your cramming, go write your exam, then run the data center mission. These are not missions that you can afford to screw up. So as you go down through this article, wiki.eveuniversity.org/data centers, and you can just look this up by using the search function in Eve University's wiki, it will tell you for which empire you're in, which starting system to go to. So for the Caldari state, it's Saikanen, where you'll go from there. In this case, it's Atulaima. And then from there, you'll move on to Kamakor. And at each step along the way, you're going to have to complete certain missions. And at different points, you're going to have to hand in a certain number of tags. So in this case, if I was going to do this, and I have yet to run this, I'm going to want to go to the market and buy all of these all together at once. So at the starting point, I'm going to need 9 Garistas copper tags. 3 for the Psychonon missions, 3 for the Achulaima missions, and 3 for the Kamakor missions. Then I'm going to need 20 bronze tags, 20 brass tags, 20 Garista silver tags, 20 electrum tags, 20 gold tags, 20 palladium tags, 20 platinum tags, 20 crystal tags, and 20 diamond tags. And provided I can buy all of these on the market, I should be able to turn that very quickly into a significant standings increase, a huge bump in my standings, rapidly advancing me and giving me access to level 4 and 5 missions. Now, what's it going to cost me to buy all of this? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because we're going to calculate that right now. So I'm going to copy and paste this part out into Notepad, and then we're going to paste it into Eve Preamble so I can show you what it's going to cost you. So just give me 1 second here. We're going to say 9 Grissus copper tags and these others. And I'm just going to paste this in here for you so I can actually show you. Now, in that first column that you're seeing, the names in that bottom section there, Cormoroni OT, Pomari Mara, all of those different names, that's the agent name that you have to travel to and talk to. And those agents are often undocked in space. So you need to fly to them, find them, and communicate with them. So you're going to start by going to evepraisal.com. And when you're at the Eve Preamble site, you can copy and paste in the list of tags that you need. So this is telling me that to buy all of these tags on the market right now at JITA prices, and I'm going to make sure that this is 100% of JITA. Yeah, 100% of JITA price. So JITA buy price right now to buy all of these tags is 752 million ISK. So if I wanted to do this all in one great big sprint, I could spend 800 million ISK and instantly burst my character standings much, much, much higher. So as long as I have these on hand. Now the problem with this is that flying around to these different sites with all these tags in hand, if you get killed carrying all of these, there's a very good chance that these will drop and whoever killed you will just sell them. And there are gankers who feed on mission runners. So don't just fly with these in your hold. Don't just fly around with these in your hold. I would purchase them and only take the ones you need to complete individual missions at any given time before running to specific mission agents to turn these in. So try to do them in an intelligent, cautious, and patient way. But yeah, definitely you can use data centers to very rapidly increase your returns. And as you advance, as you progress through the standings with the state that you want to raise or the faction that you want to raise your standings with, pay attention to your progress as career options and as epic arcs become available to you. Take the time to go run those too, because they do give you standings bonuses above and beyond that. And I would say that if you're really interested in doing missions, start by training up the skills or injecting them. Start the basic mission running, do some level 1 missions, get a feel for how the missions run, and then do your data centers to get your big initial burst of standings to give you access to more agents. From there, you can start doing hauling missions, mining missions, security missions to your liking and find the path that generates the most rewards for you. Now, there are a number of different YouTubers and content creators who currently make content about missioning that I would say are really good places to look. I would look at Hateless Gaming on YouTube. He has an excellent channel for looking at creating mission content for yourself and running around and doing these. And the whole process that I just explained, doing the data centers, training up your skills, everything else, he actually has a YouTube video on that called Instant Level 4 Missions. The video description is Unlock Level 4 Missions Super Fast. This is an up-to-date version of the video. I will link that below in this video's description. I would go check out Hateless's channel if you want to know more about mission running. Thank you guys so much. If you have any questions or if there's anything you want to know about missions or where to go from here, I encourage you to post something in the comment section below. Reach out to me on Discord, message me in game, or of course, ping me on Twitter if you like. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.